This is great.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to HEX Stakes Crypto Sparbuchschau. You see him already, a special guest, Karim the Dream. Hi, Karim. How's it going?
Living my best life. Thanks for having me today.
Bang,
It's a
bang,
pleasure.
Karim. Hello.
You already know.
Bang, bang, bang. We have an amazing stream for you guys. We prepared some pictures. We will go through my Twitter feed as well, and then we will talk about the most important thing that is going on today. It is OA stakes that are coming out. They are coming out for the next couple of days, and we will talk about everything in this regard. So, Patrick, is there something you want to say before we start looking at pictures?
Yes, I'm a bit sad that you are not next to me. What happened? Well, I'm on the 5555 tour and you're supposed to sit next to me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I should have been on your side right now and been in America doing the workshops. Unfortunately, we live in unprecedented times, right? And sometimes government decide different things. So I had to go back to Germany. We had our German meetup here with Patrick as well, and I had to stay a little longer, but I will be there in a couple of days. I will be back in America, and it's going to be awesome. So I hope to make it until the Hex birthday. Maybe I will come one day after. That would be sad, but let's cross fingers and hope that the border control will play the game with me instead of against me.
All right, then start your screen share and let's go over the stuff.
One small thing too, which is worth saying, the power of community. You're welcome. I got your back. We're going to handle this the right way. Government cannot stop Hex because we're decentralized. So next man up, and we're going to be holding the fort until you come back. So
yeah, as soon as I got to know that David won't make it for a couple of days, other OGs from the Hex community jumped in, especially like the Quant gang. In Albany, I did the workshop together with Maddie All-In, and here in Boston, it's the territory of Karim. So tomorrow at the Boston workshop, we will do the workshop together. So I got good help, even if you're not here with me, David.
We are censorship resistant, David.
Thank you so much, Karim, for jumping in and taking my place. Maddie was there as well, and Patrick did the workshop with Maddie together, right? So we have a full chat. People are already saying Karim the Dream, and they love you so much. They also say hello to Patrick and I. So let's start the stream and show them a couple of pictures.
So love to Karim and hello to us, or what?
Yeah, pretty much like this. I was just summarizing.
So what that's only in German. I know.
That's fine.
Me and Patrick jumping around in Cleveland here.
Nice.
So, and I love our photographer, Pascal. He's doing an amazing job. Here we just had some fun. The God Whale was pumping on that day, I think. So,
hell yeah. I talked to him. It's so awesome. And then I'm on it.
You talked to the God Whale already?
Well, I mean, via tweet, you know what I mean? And directly.
Yeah, it's I tweeted with him as well. He got my back. That's awesome to hear.
There you go. It's so surreal, right? A couple months ago, we didn't even know who it was exactly. And now he's like talking to us on Twitter. So exciting stuff.
And the God Whale, he's this really, really smart dude. He says Hex is sound money. And yeah. I want to see how much of his Ethereum that is not sound he will change for Hex in the future. So that will be interesting to see.
Yep. And let's not forget, he's the one saying that Hex is going to be millions of dollars a pop. So all of you guys out there worried about people being FOMO boy, well, Godwell is the biggest of all. So,
yeah, if you want to know like how high the Hex price can go, ask the Godwell.
Yes.
So here you see Kaylin. Kaylin is such a big help to our team. She is managing everything that is accordingly to the event, like the meetups, the workshops, and the pre-events, football games, basketball games, you name it. She does the organization for it. Yeah, and like today we will also talk a lot about how you can help the tour, how every Hexican can help the tour. It is by just going to the Telegram chat, and this is Kaylin. Her name is Let's Talk About Hex. If you contact her, then you will be able to plan with us the workshop, the 5555 workshop tour. So just a couple of more days, more pictures here. So Karim, do you remember when Hex launched? Did we had wrapped cars? Did we had a tour going on and workshops and it's such a great community? But we have it now. What do you think about the launch about Pulse Chain? I think it's going to be crazy.
Absolutely. And again, not to create too much FOMO opium, but people need to understand like Pulse Chain is going to be next level, because to the point of what you just said, when those community launched, right, you didn't have Telegram with 53,000 on this what 54,000 users ready to go. The crypto market as a whole wasn't established like it is now. The education wasn't fully there. The fact that we're in perfect timing because the fees are insane. So it's just so many things bringing together. And then later on, not to jump too ahead, when we talk about quick math, my favorite topic, people still underestimate the big news when Richard said that, hey, we're not going to take away the freemium after 30 days. That's big news.
Yes.
Most people slipped on that. This token economics that was there, because at first I told people, watch out the first 30 days because you got to wait for some of the freemiums to potentially be taken away. But now the fact that this thing stays is going to be a big deal, because some people are going to be incentivized to continue to pump it, because when you get something for free, you have a tendency to want to defend that back, especially if it's on the long term. So
yeah, actually, so in my point of view, what I like about this tweet is like for those long-term stakers who are not actively on Telegram, because they don't need to.
exactly.
If your first stake ends like in 5 years, why should you watch all the YouTube videos? Why should you be like at the and all the Telegram chats and so on?
Mm-hmm.
So you maybe like just live your life for the next 5 years until your first end stake, and then you can come back, and you might have saved like 0.1 or up to 1 Ethereum for end staking fees. So you will be able to end stake this stake in 5 years right away on both chains without any problems, because you will have enough pools, like still this freemium, to also end stake it on the Pulse chain. If not, you will still have the opportunity to make like 5 to 4 swaps, and then you can like just swap 10 more pools or something like that, and then you will have enough pools for this stake.
But Patrick, you were just talking about a really special situation where people already staked, already know about Pulse chain, and then maybe if they come back, they will find Pulse chain, everything is set up for them, and they can start right away. But let's talk about everybody in crypto. Actually, everybody who holds ERC20 tokens will have their copy on the Pulse chain, and maybe like let's say in 2 years somebody finds out about Pulse chain, he will look at the other side and there's all his stuff. It's going to be amazing.
It really is. And again, it's underestimated, and what Patrick said is very important, because the game theory just became next level. Let's say you had no money and then you couldn't end your stake on the Ethereum chain, right? That free pulse is going to allow you to end your copy, and that stake on the other chain is going to generate some network value, right? That you're going to be able to bridge over or swap, whatever you want to call it, to get to the Ethereum side and then end that stake over there too. So in other words, just that one small thing allows to create a domino effect that's going to be able to end the copy, which is, I believe, that's just my personal belief, that it's going to reach parity very, very fast. And then due to bonding liquidity, the Pulse chain hex is going to take off. And then the Ethereum hex is going to lag, but it's going to catch up. Because again, if something becomes cheap on one side, it's going to create that.
They will arbitrage.
Exactly. And it's going to create that bonding math where on the Ethereum side, if the fees are higher, this is where you're going to get the crazy Quattro Cinco stakes. And then on the other side, you're going to have the noobs and the plebs doing the 2-day stakes, because they can't, because it's going to be like pennies. But the point of the matter is everything is going to be connected, because Hex is still Hex. And that's why just allowing those little freemium to still be there is a huge game changer. And it can allow price appreciation to happen faster than expected.
Look at this picture here. Is that the streaming studio of Huddle?
Oh,
this is the streaming studio of Huddle. So I want to start a little bit earlier though.
Here. And now you know why his name is like Huddle.dog.
He's so chill.
Yeah, he has 2 dogs. This is how he started. He wanted to be anonymous, so he showed the dogs first, and now he's stuck with that name. But why I bring that up is because I personally want to thank Karim for being here and for doing such an amazing stream and such an amazing work together with Huddle Dogs, Firebound Steph. They all have been on the stream, and also Gerardo, right? So I watched that stream. Then I went visit Huddle Dog, and this was a big inspiration for me. When I saw you, Karim, and Huddle Dog doing this amazing stream, it was my motivation to do the Crypto Sparbook stream even better. So thank you so much for that, and I cannot wait for next Sunday when you present the next Staker app video stream.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely shout out to Huddle Dog, Gerardo, and many more other streamers too, yourself, and also I remember back in the day, Balliet Brand, which is another perfect example. I remember having conversation and he was thinking about it, but then wasn't sure and what we got to do, what's the rules. And I told him, I'll never forget. And I told everybody, guys, just go on, press play and start talking. Trust me. It's like knocking on doors. It's like building confidence. You learn by doing. The more you do, the more confident you become. That's how it works. That's why you cannot fake it, because you have to be out there. You can overthinking all you want until you press play and you're out there, until you go knock on that door, until you show up, so to speak, right? And if you know that you genuinely want to help, you know that you have nothing wrong to that you're able to share with other people, just come in and then do your part. We all have different things that we're good about, but we all connect with Hex. So doing your version will attract the people who are similar to you that other people will not be able to attract, right? We all have some niche of people that we connect to, but all together we're Hexican, and that's the key. And I tell the same thing to the Norwegian group, because they were meeting on Zoom calls, 30 of them, and I'm like, guys, put it on YouTube. What are you doing? So it's like, yeah, because it's like, it's not about, oh, but is this valuable? No, just put it on YouTube, because the thing is, you're gonna build the confidence. You don't know what you don't know. Other people may find it valuable. You'll be thinking in your head, oh, I'm not adding value. I'm this, I'm that. That's just you overthinking.
Yeah, definitely, because like other people might just see, cool, a bunch of Norwegians here.
Exactly.
It's like another few countries where Hex is like already present, and that just increases the confidence level of everybody else.
Absolutely. Again, if you know you genuinely care, if you know you're respectful and you want to provide value, that different point of view, that you're golden. That's really the key. Everybody knows I'm big.
You know what? I started like this as well. I started as a meme guy, and I just did memes every single day for about a half a year. The Hex community loved it, and I learned how to use Photoshop, Premiere Pro. Those are really sophisticated softwares, and now I'm stuck with this knowledge, so I have all that stuff. And the people know me in the community as well. Now everybody can do that, Everybody can be a meme guy, can start a YouTube channel, and do exactly what you just said. Talk about Hex from their perspective. This will help the community a lot. So what you guys see here is a video that we just released today. It shows Johnny Chaos, Maddie All In, and also Naru for the win, for example. Just a couple of OGs telling their story. So go to Crypto Spabu, you are here already, and watch the video from the release a couple hours ago.
And you will see there that Nardo for the win is saying in his interview that he wishes to be on our 5555 tour, and there will come another surprise in the next short video.
Yeah, again, he just decided to do that, and he took that opportunity, just like every Hexican can do. So if you want to come with us, then wait for the next post I have here on Twitter. What I just want to show here is from Rom Override. He posted that. It is a site called How to Pulse, and it shows the real market cap of the crypto sphere. And here Hex is ranked correctly, not like in all the other ranking sites. Guys, remember, when you go to a ranking site, you lost anyways already. So if you must, then go to howtopulse.com. It's the best one out there so far. And this one is because I want to show you guys, it is every single YouTuber that needs your help. You guys, we need your help. We need your clips and your shares and everything, so we can scale what we are doing, right? So we get more eyeballs. So at this point, I just want to tell everybody in the chat, thanks for being here. Please click the like and click the subscribe button as well. Click the bell, because the Crypto Sparbuch team is always a little bit
off with the dates and times, because we are on tour, so we don't have like strictly weekdays where we stream. We always stream when it's like good to stream, when it's possible, when we are not too busy with all the tour stuff.
And here, you guys, you can see how the Crypto Sparbuch Airbnb apartment looks right now, pretty much. Unfortunately, Maddie is not there, but it's just the point that I want to bring across. If you want to be with us on the tour, just text Hexline or me, and we can make things happen. You see Karim right now is there, Nado for the win is there, and you could be in this picture as well. Of course, the accommodation will vary, and also the OGs you're gonna meet with us on the tour will vary as well. But in the next couple of months, man, there are so many OGs coming over, and you don't want to miss that for sure. So let's see what else is here. Patrick, then tomorrow we have the next workshop. So let's talk
Yeah,
about that a little bit.
let's start with today maybe.
Mhm.
So today after our English live stream, we will head over to the Boston meetup. Karim, you have the place in your mind where it is? I forgot like the
Yeah,
address or
it's
so.
in Newbury Streets. There's a restaurant, just so people know, because I remember talking to her too. It's one of the best place to be in Boston. It's a very long street. There's a lot of nice restaurants. You know, you see luxury cars, people, and then stores and nice. So if you can overcome a little bit of the cold, but it's still very, very nice right now. And this whole avenue, it's gonna be a blast. And then after the next location that we're going to, the W Hotel, that's really where it's gonna be the key, because you have the downtown area close to everything. And I just can't wait. It's gonna be amazing. But follow definitely the
Awesome,
address I'll
awesome.
post it.
And yeah, for
After every
every
event, there's
addresses,
always a party
so
going on too, right?
for every addresses, please go ahead and check out freedomtv.info.
Mhm.
And what Abit brought out here is the flyer for the workshop which we will held tomorrow from 2 to 3 with the social hour, and then from 3 to 5 with Hex Lion and Karim, the Hex workshop with a 5,555 Hex giveaway as well.
Of course, if you want to, you can go to freedomtv.info and find all the information about the tour schedule and so on. Yeah, and this is also something that I want to show, because look at this, guys. The Nomad Capitalist, he tweeted about Hex. He said that you need 805,000 Hex in order to get citizenship in St. Kitts or in Nevis.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of Andrew Henderson of the Nomad Capitalist. So guys, go to my Twitter account, like that, text something, write something in the comments, because I would love to have Andrew as a Hexican here.
And then wait maybe another 12 months, because then maybe the citizenship will cost you less than 100,000 Hex.
Yeah. And then we found some leaked
Or
footage
less
of
than
the Hex
10,000 Hex.
line. This is also what we want to discuss right now. So the Hex line was talking about our tour here, about the finances. 2 weeks ago, we did release our budget. Hexline and I, we already spent like over $360,000 on that tour, and everything is already financed. The whole tour is financed. We don't need a dime to finish it, but we want to double the tour. And Hexline talks in this video exactly on how we're gonna do it. And what is interesting here is you will find our Ethereum address here as well. And if we go to Etherscan, I want to give a shout out to the Hex community already, because they are donating already a lot to us, so we can double the tour. Just let me check out where it is.
That's the
it was the wrong address. And here you see we tweeted that out, and already Hexicans are donating Hex and USDC to this address. So whoever did that, thank you so much. I think I know a couple of them. I will contact them. And if you want to help bring Hex to $7 and double the tour, bigger venues, more marketing, and so on, then this is the donation address you want to send USDC or Hex to.
Or
you see, people are already donating, and this helps a lot.
Everything which
like
fits
Richard
in
would
the
say,
address.
we'll make them useful. We'll create the use case. That's funny.
We will bring adoption to all the cryptos you send.
And just real quick, because I put up the thing here. So the name of the place for tonight, 6:30, is called Serafina. Again, it's in Back Bay near Newbury Street. But yeah, it's called Serafina, and that's where we're gonna be from 6:30 to 7:30 before we go to the W Lounge.
All right.
So here I have a comment from Pro Hexor. Why is the US OGs Hexicans don't make the tour in the US? And Abed and Patrick in Europe the tour? Much more logical. Well, the thing is that I do not want to be in Europe right now. I only want to be in America. America is, like, for me, the most free country right now, because there you can travel. There you can do all the things. And also all the Hexicans are in America. So I want to meet all the OGs. I do not want to be in Europe at all. But great question.
I mean, maybe in order to visit Richard, but other than that, I am glad that I'm not on this continent right now. And maybe we are also here, like, to inspire the American OG community. You know, our end of the tour will be the Hex conference in March, and after that, I hope that a new team gets created who just continues what we are doing. You know.
Another thing that's important to be said, people don't realize, is, again, how big the country actually is.
Oh
United States.
yes, I
People
didn't
still don't
realize
understand
that in
fallacy.
the first place.
Like the same way you go in and you think like, oh, mass adoption, and you realize you meet the people and you realize how early we are. Like the US is so big. It's like if you combine like a lot of countries in Europe.
We would be like done with Europe already, like
Yeah,
twice.
right, exactly. The key is penetration. Again, outbound messaging. There's so much work to be done. But what I will take as a huge positive about the comment is that, again, the power of Hex, the power of being driven, people who are not from here, that's inspirational, right? Same way I didn't grow up in the United States. I came here for opportunity. Same thing. People who see the opportunity, they're not going to let location stop them from doing what they believe they should be doing. So, and this is why, again, big shout out to you, Abid, big shout out to you, Patrick, the whole team, because that to me is the key takeaway here. That you didn't say, hey, you know what? Oh, I'm in Europe, so the only logical thing that I can do is just be in Europe and talk to European. No, I want to go wherever I want to go, but also where I can have a lot of massive adoption, right? Not too long ago, some people remember a few months back, I was in Ukraine. We brought adoption there too. And we meet some of the people. Then I just came back from Dubai. Great place. But the thing is that if I play the, hey, just stay in your corner, stay in your coast, this and that, you will miss out a lot of different things. So same way, I know for a fact some of the OGs and the people from Australia, for example, as an easy example, if they could travel, they would be here too. So this is one of the things where, again, give credit where credit's due.
All right. So now we want to talk about the main topic about today, and it is the OA, right? So Patrick, maybe you can just summarize really quick what is the OA, what has it done in the past, and then we will show what is it doing in the next couple of days as well.
So the OA is a short form of origin address, and the origin address is something which got automatically coded in the hex code, and this address is just there in order to just hold hex liquid, that the rest of the market can get a high average interest per year, and it's also there to secure the hex network. We know we are on the blockchain, so all the transactions are verifiable, and we know that the origin address never sold a single hex. And but we also know that in the beginning of hex, the origin address sent some hex to different addresses, actually like 11 addresses, and those addresses staked individually, and one of these addresses has his stakes ending in the from today till the next couple of days. So what you see here is one of the origin addresses. First stake ends today, and then until the 2nd of December, until the hex birthday, every day some of those origin address stakes come out. There is a second address as well who has like mainly staked for next year, but one of the stakes is ending here on the 2nd of December as well. And when these stakes get ended, we would also see like a little spike in the T-share rate.
Mm-hmm. And what's
So
very important?
Oh, here we go. So here you see there's also some long-term stakes here.
It's like 1 year later. So this address has like one stake for this year, and then will be the main OA at end staking address for next year.
Yes, no, I see it. It's 2022. This is not too long ago.
Yeah, like the origin address has 11 addresses in total, and each address staked, like the first one staked for 2 years, the next one for 3, the next one for 4, the next one for 5, and so.
And what's important here to recognize here is the fact that, again, it's creating what I call epochs, right? Very a little bit advanced, but understanding what OA is actually doing. Like Patrick said, never sold anything, but a little bit more advanced will be to understand that it is the mechanism that genuinely allow the transfer of wealth to happen. What do I mean by that? Because those coins not only are not sold, but they just sit liquid, right? Like you were saying, it allows us to have a higher APY because they just sit liquid, and they're counting for the 3.69 daily inflation, which then pays everybody else. So by having those yearly in synchronicity, the way it has it, it creates those epochs where if you didn't stake until that point, then you're going to get a worse share rates after that. So it's very, very important to understand why it's important to stake, understand what it's doing, and then it's creating a separation between the staker class, which ultimately are taking control, versus the people who are not stake.
So,
that
Karim, you said that the OA is creating an epoch here, and maybe we can elaborate on that a little bit more. But Patrick,
yes.
first I want to talk about what is the kind of option that the OA has. A lot of people were talking in the past that the OA could just leave the stakes bleeding, so the staker class would profit from that. Also,
So
the
let's
OA could
yeah,
end the stake, good
yeah,
account, and has a couple of options. And we want to go through
sure, yeah.
now about all the options and what will happen, what will the smart contract do, and so on. So let's talk about the first one, because it's so obvious that it's not going to happen. Do you think the OA will just leave the stakes and let them bleed out?
Why is it obvious that it will not happen? It can happen. I don't know actually. So, but I don't think so. So, but that is my own speculation that I think the OA will act and either good account or end stake. But I don't know. So maybe it
I have a
is
good
for
answer to
bleeding
that.
out.
Well,
You
I
have good
believe
answers. Then,
it's
then
not
let's
going to
ask
be.
that Karim. Let's ask that Karim. What is your answer to that?
And again, just to preface this, I'm not Nostradamus, but I'm talking balance of probability, right?
Karim, are you the OA?
Right, we're funny. Maybe I talked to him in math terms, so we agree in math. So in the high probability balance of probability, it is in the best interest of the OA and the system and the staker class to first of all end the stakes. Here's why: because you're going to create, once again, I've coined that term too, T-share acceleration. When those OA stakes comes out, some of them still have their big payday bonus attached to it. It's going
All
to,
of them.
all of them, even better. It's going to dictate share rate. Doesn't matter who you think you are, you got no more money than OA. Period. Full stop. End of story. So share rate's going to get pushed up. So
Yeah,
just
that's
that
true.
mechanism is good for the staker class, because it's basically saying if you're not one of us, staker, then we're going to push the share rate price. So we're going to create that separation, that epoch that you're asking me about. Because if you can get it at 19,500 hex per T-share, it's better to do it now. It's just an example. I know it's a little bit higher than that, but it's better to get it now than then when that stake ends. And let's say we go towards 20,000, you're going to wish you got in before. Make sense? And then after that, he can just simply restake and do what he has always done. That's what I said. It's not Nostradamus, but in the balance of probability, because he never sold, it protects the staker class, push the share rate higher, and then can just simply restake or let it to bleed by just keeping it liquid. But the first thing that I strongly believe it will do is end the stake, no matter what, to push
Yes.
share rate.
So
Because
Patrick,
even if you leave it liquid and burn, it's the same thing as bleeding stake. Because by leaving it liquid, you're not in the pool. So everybody's going to benefit. But it has to, in my humble opinion, it has to push share rate up. So it will end stake. That's my 99.9% belief that it will do.
And also not good account just.
Exactly. And then
not,
if
So
you
not
want,
just
really
good
end
account.
stake, not good account.
exactly,
Okay.
So
because it
Patrick,
will push
two
share rate.
things. Two things
With
are
good
happening
account, you
here.
push share it.
Yeah,
But you
but
don't mint new inflation.
yeah, but the T-share that get exited needs to go back into the system. If not, the API is going to go up too fast. And it goes back
Okay,
to
yeah.
what you were talking about earlier, where the 11 addresses create those stakes. Because listen, 37%, 40% API is already unheard of. It's already really good. If it's too good, price can go up. You give people 70, 80%, people already have a hard time already diamond hand, crazy gains. You double those gains, it's going to be even more insane.
Yeah.
So we need that
But Patrick,
balance. Yeah.
there are two things happening here, right?
Yes.
The OA is ratcheting up the share price. Can you maybe explain what does the smart contract do when the OA address clicks on ending the stake?
So each and every end stake, the smart contract does like two things. First thing, what the smart contract does, so it only acts if a user actively presses a function, and if a user presses the end stake function, no matter if the OA or a different user, then the smart contract does two calculations. First calculation is it goes through the stake days and calculates the interest, and then pays you the principal plus all the accrued interest back into your wallet. And the second thing the smart contract is doing is adjusting the T share rate if needed. So the question is, can the specific stake, if it stakes the principal plus all the accrued interest, again for the same amount of time, can this specific stake get more shares than before? And if it could theoretically get more shares than before, the share rate will move up to the point where no stake can get more shares than before, even if he stakes the principal plus all the accrued interest for the same amount of time again.
Yes.
So
Very well
perfect. So
said.
if you
One more thing that it does, important in conjunction to what he said, it burns the previous T-shares. Very important, because he
the
makes sure
T-shirts are now gone. They're off the
burned.
table, and this means that everybody who holds T-shares now gets a bigger payout. So Patrick, now you need to explain that too. Why is there maybe a bigger payout, daily payout per T-share in the future? Because the OA, by ending the stake, mints coins, right? So how is the calculation of the total supply and how many hex you get per T-share?
So each and every day, the hex code calculates on the base of all ever minted hex a fraction of the 3.69% of the yearly inflation, and that is the base money for the daily interest to the staker class. Additionally to that, we add up the penalties, and when the OA stakes are ending, and it is really the end stake function which is run, then we have newly minted inflation. So not the principal, because the principal was already in existence in order to stake it, but all the accrued interest will be newly minted inflation.
Yes.
So in a week from now, if all the stakes are ended, we would have also like 1 billion more of all ever minted hex. So the base of the daily payout total is increasing as well. And as the end stake function got run of those stakes, those millions of hex go to a now smaller T-share pool, because the T-shares of those stakes got burned.
Yes.
And now I think it's a really good point also to bring up good accounting, because people always want to know what does that function do and how is it used and so on. But I'm not going to say that the OA will good account. But Patrick, what would happen to the smart contract if the OA would, let's say, good account one of those stakes?
So if only the good accounting function gets run and not the end stake function, then only the T-shares get burned, but the hex remain in the smart contract. And only if afterwards the end stake function gets run, the newly minted creation, the new inflation is minted, so to speak. Because otherwise, with the good accounting function, we just get rid of the T-shares, but the inflation is never, so it get not
created.
not
gets
gets
not
created.
created. And if the hex are never minted, then the supply does not go up. And if the supply does not go up, then the payout per T-share will remain the same. So
it can also a bit increase, because you still burned the T-shares.
Oh yeah, we still burn the T-shirts.
Because you have, because again, we're talking about, and it's important because we're talking about OA stakes here. Those T-shirts are not small. We're talking about tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of T-shirts. So
tens of thousands, because there are like several.
There are like
well,
100,000 when you combine them all.
Yes.
Because, and this is important, because I want to give everybody the macro view so they get less confused. Big picture. This is why I look at OA as an entity that basically handle monetary policy, for lack of a better term. It's like cooking good food, right? You don't want it to be too cold or too hot, right? With a nice sweet spot, 37 to 40% APY. If you let it go too much, then it goes to 50%, then it hurts price, because some people have no discipline. That's just a reality. Or if you get a regular, but then adoption kicks in, people buying hex and staking, which is very good, but then API start to go down. So you got to be able to incentivize the new people and the old people too. So if somebody's in it for a while and they get 37% and constantly to get 37%, then he's incentivized to stay and be staked and just continue the game. The same way the new person that comes in that buys, the buy price goes up and stake, he also wants to be incentivized to constantly get the 37%. That's how we keep meat on the bone, to not make them feel like, oh, I'm getting less. Not only share rates going against me, but now I'm getting less interest, then it takes away that incentive. So OA has to play that balancing act. This is the reason why, in my humble opinion, I believe that the stake will first be ended and not good accounted because we need that new monetary boost. We need those new hex to come out. Fun fact, why did we cross 6 hex per t-shirt a little bit faster than schedule? Because of the sad event that happened to hex 19. Because those 400 million hex, again, big payday money essentially came out, really give a nice kick to the 3.69 acceleration, because technically we were not supposed to be here until months from now. You understand? So now those millions of hex that were supposed to be stocked for 15 years, 10 years, whatever, are now here boosting the stuff. Next thing you know, we're at 6 hex per payout per t-shirt. So you need the boost to compensate for the mass adoption that's kicking in, because as people buy the hex, the circulating supply is going down, which, we don't care about market cap, but we need to monitor that too. And also we need to maintain that really nice 5.8 plus payout per t-shirt, because that's the big opposite side. I don't want to say negative incentive, but when more adoption comes in, payout per t-shirt goes down. So OA needs to be able to compensate that by creating more coins, freeing more coins, let them sit liquid so they can act as burning for the 3.69 inflation.
Do you think the OA will restake or not?
That is a fantastic question. Well, technically speaking, I think he could do two things. And he can literally use my strategy, funny enough, like Godwell did. So first thing you do is you do T-share preservation. So let's talk about T-share for 2 seconds, okay? Let's say OA has one stake and
I want
10,000
to
T-shares.
talk about that, because this was a big topic that I had with Mello, our co-host. So let's talk about that. But before, I want to put something quick in here. We already showed the stakes of the OA, and also here the other stakes. But what I also want to show is here we have the address. And did the OA do anything yet? No. So far, no activity here. And also,
it hasn't ended, right?
No,
7 p.m.
No,
it has not ended yet.
No, it is already ended. So it's
okay.
Or.
No,
it's still
Eastern
active.
time, 7 p.m.
Yes, it's still
active. But what I want, my point is though, that we can put all the addresses of everybody in etherscan.io and check what they are doing. So this is what we will do the next couple of days and check exactly what they are doing. I know one thing for fact, and this is that the OA will not sell any hex. So now let's talk about T-share preservation, because Karim, this is one of the most important topics that I have right now, to think about how to communicate that to the community. Because Patrick and I, we are on the same level here, but our co-host Mello, he has another opinion. How long can you do T-share preservation? Because if the one stake comes out right now from you and it's already 2 years old, you can end that stake and you can restake for 15 years and you now have more T-shares. I guess this is also the strategy how you do the T-share preservation, right?
Yes. And I want to preface this. This is literally the single most important thing. And I've said that before, and I've had it on video. I even tweeted about it. I told this. If you ever listen to me or ever heard anything that I've ever said, that is the single most important thing that you want to remember, because that is my number one goal. I want you to build wealth. I even yell at people, right? Remember that famous video? I want you to build wealth. I need you to build wealth. This is exactly what T-shirt preservation does. And Godwell himself even has done that when his big payday stake ended. So the first thing you want to do is that you want to be able, and then in this OA example, let's just say, to make simple math, the OA stake is 10,000 T-shares, okay? Just to make the simple math. The stake comes and the stake ends. Now, what ended up happening is that 10,000, T-shirt got burned. The first thing he wants to calculate for is that T-shirt preservation. How many hex do I need to stake optimum for the max? Because again, we're talking preservation up to 15 years in order to recreate those same 10,000 T-shirt that I just burned. So,
but are you aware that the OA has not a single 5555 stake? That the OA only stake till 2030.
Yeah, but the OA is
that
special because the OA has so much coin that he can create any amount of T-shirt that he really wants at the end of the day.
No. It is so good. It is so beneficial to do a 555 stake compared to a 10-year stake. And we see that the OA does not do the 555.
Yes, because he doesn't need to.
It's really good for you and me, for the staking class, because they do not preserve the T-shirt for 15 years, but only for 10 years.
Exactly. So that's why, because it's important what he said, but there's two topics here. Let's stay on the T-shirt preservation, and OA is the exception, because OA doesn't need to do T-share preservation in that particular way because he has so many coins that it just doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to outcompete, period, full stop. So for somebody that's a non-OA, even big account, aka Godwell, perfect example, because he's one of our biggest. He's literally the second biggest after OA. So first thing that he wants to do is, again, recreate those same amount of T-share that just got burned. Why? Because rule number one, you need to go back in position. You need to maintain your status as, whale number one or whatever it might be, your status in the pool. So you need to recreate that. So that's the first rule of T-share preservation. And the reason why you stake for 15 years, like I've said many, many times, is because you're getting daily payout for 15 years. You're getting the copy, especially now on the Pulse chain for 15 years. And you're also getting penalty payout for the next 15 years. Because a lot of those stakes, chances are, in the balance of probability, once he restake, he's still going to be able to make it for the copy because we don't know when the block's going to be announced, but there's a high chance that those stakes going to be able to be calculated into that.
Yeah, because for example, I was thinking that the penalties will get less and less over time, but I was wrong on that. So a year, sorry, no, a year ago, we reached like 1 billion hex of total penalties. But right now with the thing what happened, I don't know how high are we up to, like 1.8 billion in total penalties, something like that. I would need to go to Hex Division to exactly get it.
And let me preface this again, not to be Nostradamus, but this is literally a little warning shot on what's going to happen 7.5 years from now. Mark my word, it will happen. It's very sad what happened to Hex 19, but I predict in 7.5 years, there's going to be people going to be trigger happy to emergency end stake just to get the principal, whatever. And we're going to get multiple events when it's going to be hundreds of millions, sometimes billions of dollars in penalty. But
2.75 billion in total since the beginning. And like a year ago, it was like 1 billion or 1.43, whatever billion, but less than 50% of that. And I was like, okay, it is like penalties as the hex price increases, they will go down and down and down. No, actually they go up. I was totally wrong.
It's going to be one of the biggest source of revenue to maintain the payout per T-share as high, and also is going to be the game of those who are staked are going to earn that. Those who are not, they're going to miss. Because again, you cannot predict what the day is going to happen, but you know it's going to happen. There's a reason why we say the average is 37%, but then people check their stake and then they get 60% and don't understand the math. Because the math that they don't understand is there's something that you cannot extrapolate ahead of time, but that doesn't mean that's not going to happen. You cannot predict exactly when the emergency penalty is going to happen, but you can kind of look at the past and what that it has happened many times. This is why you want to be in position, which is why, again, T-share preservation is so important, because you're going to be able to capture that extra ROI generated by penalty, because you cannot game when the penalties are going to happen.
And what I also think it's really important, like think before you stake and create your own level of flexibility. And just think about that crypto is like the most volatile stuff we have on earth, and it can go higher than you would ever expect, and it can go lower than you would ever expect. And generally speaking, hex goes up and to the right. And then just imagine like $1,000 hex price. Will you be able to hold through that with 5x to the upside, 70% correction within the last couple of months? So always think about like how much flexibility you need to have in your own portfolio in order to never have the need to emergency unstake.
Exactly. So now, very important, and it goes back to the interview I did with Maddie, my favorite 1 hour interview, when I go over all the levels all the way to level 4. Level 1 is what everybody can do, and this is T-share preservation 101. When I say to people, you take 30% and you stake for 15 years, it's going to do all the key stuff that we just talked about, which is daily payout for the next 15 years, copy on the Pulse chain, emergency penalty for 15 years. You know you're going to catch them all. Whenever happen, you're going to catch that because you're staked during that period. But also, the 3x bonus multiplier is the real game here. This is why LPB, every time I tweet, I say that longer pays better. Repetition is the most important thing that people need to remember. It's not about timing the market. It's time in the market. So when you have that 30% staked and you get a 3x multiplier, it acts as if you stake 90%. And I've done a study many, many times. Hex Division has that. Average Hexican, OG, whatever, it's 90 to 95% stake, 10% liquid for emergency and whatever it might be. So you can create that same amount of T-share with only 30% of the stack if you use that as your t-shirt preservation, aka dream account. And this is exactly what Godwell did.
I would say like 30 to 35%, because if it's like a stake who is ending now, it's already ran 2 years, so
because
it
of the
already
share
had
rate
like
increase. Yes.
40% of bonus X.
Exactly. So
go
back
around
to
it.
what the Godwell did himself when he had that first big stake that came out with the big payday or whatever it might be. He restaked about roughly 40%, 35 to 40%, which was essentially his big payday bonus that he had. And then he kept 1.2 billion hex liquid at the time. You know, he restaked some of it and then he moved some of it around. But the point is, he was able to do t-share preservation, recreate the t-share he just lost after the major increase, because he restaked after big payday. So he no longer had that, 10,000 hex per t-share or whatever. So now he recreate back the t-shares and he still was able to free some capital. So that's the same thing that OA can easily do, because a lot of those big stakes, they are only 1 year stake. 1 to 2 years. Like the one that's coming out is like 1 to 2 years stake.
The one who is coming out now, or
About
nearly 2 years.
about 2 years, yeah.
Because all the away stakes got created in the first 2 weeks of Hex.
Exactly. So what he can do mathematically, because they were literally 2 year stakes and a massive amount of money, he doesn't even need to go 15 years once again. That's why he's a special case. He can just literally stake maybe 3 years. He's going to be able to cover the share increase.
If the OA restakes, I guess it will restake for 10 years, at the end of
Which makes sense
ladder,
to create the epoch, which will make sense. So now, realistically speaking, he can do two things. He can do t-share preservation by staking only about 30 to 40%, but doing a 10 to 15 years. So the bonus t-share is going to take care of business, or he could be a little bit more aggressive and restake the whole thing and start gobbling the share from the inside. But I know one thing for sure, he or she will not mess up too much with the APY, because if APY decrease too fast, it's not good for the value proposition of the system.
Yeah, you saw that also in the beginning, because the away stakes, they didn't bundle their hex. So all the stakes who are coming out right now, they are under the 150 million hex. So the away didn't even try to max out the bigger pays better bonus. So the highest principal is about like 86 million hex, which means only about 6.5% of the up to 10% bigger pays better
and
bonus.
What he can do is restake that with the interest to get to the 100 million, or at least he's going to
150,
get 150 exactly, and then do it like that. So again, that's what OA is special, but the ethos is the same. T-share preservation is, I'm getting back into the system, into the position where I belong. Those top 11, 12 addresses, they're all well addresses. They're not just gonna disappear and then come back in and not be well again. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right. So ending the stake, creating the bump for the inflation, so it account for the new people coming in, so APY doesn't decrease too much in terms of payout per T-share, but then also going back in position with a similar amount of T-share or slightly more, to make sure we don't end up also giving 60% APY, because that's going to be too much and that's going to hurt the price. So it's finding that balancing act between the two, and knowing also that there's a potential copy coming very soon. So it is in his best interest not to just good account, to your point, because if you get good account copy on the other chain, then you miss that opportunity there too. So you want to make sure you get all that done, you get the ladder set up like Patrick was saying, and then we go and then you get the copy on the Pulse chain.
So guys, this talk is already really, really deep about T-shares, and a lot of people, they do not understand T-shares yet. I see that on our workshops, and of course, for me, it took a half a year as well to understand the power of T-shares. And this is why Patrick and we made this video here. It's called The Power of T-shares. We really go deep down the rabbit hole. And what you see here on this little chart is the expected T-share pool total in the future. Of course, nobody can predict that. We did it anyways, and we do it again in the next online conference in January. So there we will do our simulation again, and let's see how far we were off. I just want to mention that, because if you want to learn more about T-shares, this is the stream to watch. 5,000 people already watched that on this YouTube channel, and then there are a lot of way more people watching it on Maddie's stream as well. So I just wanted to bring that up really, really quick so that you can jump into that stream if you want to learn more about t-shirts. And then Karim, you know what I found here? Look at this. When we finished up this presentation 1 year ago, all right, you know who was the first guy who was talking to us after that? It was Karim the Dream. Just like today.
Oh man.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Sometimes things are working out.
No, this is a good point. That's what I love, be able to record everything because we can go back and say, hey, we told you, right?
And it's about like a year ago that we last had Karim on our live stream. What I remember, it was in the week before the big payday, where we had like a lot of streams going on, and there Karim was also one of our guests.
Thank you. Yeah, and then that's why we ended up, celebrating on big payday. People call us crazy, and then fast forward to today.
Oh my God, you guys were genius. The 24-hour stream.
Exactly. So
buying the dip.
What I love about this too is that we can kind of condense and just keep it simple to say, hey, T-shares are going deflationary. You see, and this is why, Abid, this is my way to try to explain in simple term, so that some of the people don't feel like, you know what, it's too complicated, then I give up. I want them to kind of get the main idea. And of course, some others I like to go in the nitty gritty, it's fun. I like to go.
Are you really saying T-shirts are deflationary, or do you say like T-shirts have a deflationary character?
They are already. Fun fact, let's pull up.
No, because it's interesting with the wording, because like Günther said it really nice today in his text. He said like active T-shares are deflationary, and this sentence is true. But T-shares in general only have a deflationary character.
And this is what I love German. They like to be extra specific, right? So let's be like,
because Richard is the same, because a lot of people are saying Bitcoin is deflationary, but it's not.
No, it's not.
It's only a reduction of inflation.
No.
And if Richard is like strict on these points, we should be as well.
Yeah, no.
So I want to talk a little bit more about T-share preservation, and also Patrick, about your favorite topic about staking ladder. So this is what I have here, just Photoshop, so I can go through step by step.
Nice.
And Patrick, you're just gonna explain what is happening here, right? Because this is what we do.
Real quick, hold on. The thing about the T-share deflationary comment, which is important, is we're talking about total T-share in the pool. Because as share rate goes higher and higher, again, it is a function of the system, understanding the macro, what's happening. We're not here to say it's going to be this many T-share on that day at this time. No, we're saying over time, with the deflationary action, is the total number of T-share. It used to be 11 point whatever million, and then now recently we just cracked slightly below 11 million, and we're trending, and Wells has a chart about that, because again, the function of the system, as the T-share becomes more and more expensive to create, again, in hex term, we're talking everything in hex term here, that's where that deflationary action is happening, because the value of creating a T-share is becoming harder and harder. It's kind of like one of my latest tweets when I was talking about hex looks like the dollar index, the DXY, which is the biggest market in the world, the bond market, is because it's like saying the dollar is strengthening. This is why Bitcoin is going down. What I'm saying is the cost to generate that T-share is strengthening because it's becoming harder and harder.
Yep.
So yes, the total T-share in the pool is getting smaller and smaller, but the value of one is becoming more expensive. This is what that other chart that talks about market cap of T-share is actually going up. That's why it's pretty insane. So the total amount of T-share is going down, but their value as a market cap is going up because the cost of one back in the day, 60 cents, now 4,000 on the 10K is getting more and more expensive. So this is where it will help back up your thesis too. When you show the chart with, hey, by year 3, by year 5, by year 10, we're not going to be Nostradamus, and we may be off by a day or two. But the point of the matter is the deflationary action is happening.
Yeah,
because the value of a T-share is becoming more expensive, and it's becoming harder to create, which is what you want in a store of value. You want it to become harder and harder. So thank you.
So Patrick, you already know what is coming. So let us explain this staking ladder, the crypto Sparrow strategy for the staking ladder. And then later on, Karim, I want to ask you, how long can we do the T-share preservation on that staking ladder here, for example? But Patrick, go on with the first stake here.
Yeah, so generally speaking, our crypto Sparbox strategy is that you use the whole timeline which is there. So when it comes to hex staking, you can stake up to 15.2 years, which represent 5,555 days. And the next thing what we would recommend is that you start in the end, because by starting at your first stake, making it the longest, you already thought about your own strategy. So in this case here, we start with one 15-year stake or one 5555 stake, then make the next click and the next click, and then like one stake for 10 years, one stake for 5 years. And what you see here is already a perpetual passive income staking ladder, where you have like every 5 years you have one stake coming out. And what you could do here is after 5 years you make the end stake, you use your accrued interest, and as you hold it for 5 years, that's already like a good amount, in Hex as well.
Nice.
And the interest, the principal, you take and restake for 5,555 days for 15 years, because after 5 years you get the next stake, and 5 years after that you get the next stake. And by redoing that always, you can just max out the Hex contract. But here you have like 5 years in between. 5 years is a long time, especially in crypto. So when you make the next click, this would be like the option how you could get more flexibility if you create a yearly staking ladder. But in this case, we only start at the 5-year mark, because everything which is lower than that will give you a lower average interest per year. So if you just do a 1-year stake, we don't know like how much the Hex price can increase in 1 year. It can a lot, but it can also only do like a 2x or something like that. And then for a 1-year stake, you only get about 12% of interest. So here the thing would be to make the yearly staking ladder, skip the first few years. But additionally to that, if you want to have more flexibility, you could also start creating a liquid bag, or a short-term staking bag, depending how high your volume is. Or as Abid showed right now, is that you go from the beginning with the yearly staking ladder, but just be aware that after the first, the second, the third year, your accrued interest won't be too much. And with the next 2 clicks, Ellen will show you like what we are meaning with the restaking. So here you saw the first year got eliminated, and then he took the principal and restaked it for 5,555 days. And by doing that, creating like out of a 1-year stake, a 15-year stake, he would end up with more T-shares than before.
And what you guys see here, if somebody ends this stake here from 2021 and puts it at the end, now look at the yellow color here, because it is the shares that you have. So if you end that stake and you restake it, then you have actually more shares than you had before. And now, Karim, my question to you is, how long can we play that game where we end a stake, put it at the end, and then we have somehow more T-shares than in the beginning?
But when you say like have a stake, ended it, put it in the end, are you talking about only the principal or of the whole thing?
In my case, I'm talking about everything, because how could we compare if we do not do it like that?
Then it's like for years and years and years, my friend.
Then it's for years and years and years.
Yes, I was only talking with you always when you do that with the principal.
Now I found how Mars and I had different opinions on that, and he was right. No, okay. But still, if let's say you would just restake the principal, you get rid of the interest because you want to buy your Lambo, and then you restake your principal. For how long do you think we can get more T-shares by doing that?
Okay, so
because like here you see in this case also just the principal was staked. You see it's only 500 hex throughout the whole staking ladder.
Here's the thing, Abid, okay? Because I see what you're saying and I see where he's coming from too. So this thing we need to establish here that's very, very important, okay? Is how did you create the ladder too for that stake? Because some people like myself were a little bit more aggressive because I'm very disciplined. Example, if my stake, which I started, was a 15-year stake, I already maximized from the get-go because I didn't want to leave anything on the table because I hate dormant capital. So I already know because I maximized from the beginning. When I go to restake, I will never get more because I'm already maximizing from the get-go because I don't want to leave anything behind. Because share rate, people still to this day, people underestimate T-share acceleration. It's going to be even more insane on the Pulse chain. So I do not want to leave it to chance. Now, why do I say that? If you had done a 2-year stake or even a 5-year stake, when you go to play the restake game, because you're going Quattro Cinco or more than 10 years, you can play the game of getting more because you never maximize the system from the beginning. But if you're somebody like me that maximizes the system from the beginning, I already know when I go to restake, it's going to give me less, but I already got everything up front secure for 15 years. Because I know that the share rate that I'm getting for 15 years today is nobody's going to get that 15 years from now. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you're not going to be able to outcompete me. So this is actually important because this is why my staking ladder strategy, it's a little bit different. It's a little more aggressive. But I want to say what you guys have, it's very good. Very good for even somebody that's like, close to retire or this like that. You go, you're going to be taken care of well off. Mine, again, is a little more
I don't
aggressive.
know, Karim, because you explained it before, with the penalties and the hex price who can go like to insanely new price targets. So I think that a lot of people who did like just one giant maxed out stake, that their hands will be like shaky as fuck in the last couple of years with the high hex price, and then there will come a point where they say, fuck, like 50% of my interest, I will end stake.
No, that's crazy. If they do that, those people who do that, that means they didn't do the staking ladder properly. And I'm glad that I'm here because I can explain that, because it's not just one stake, it's multiple, and they don't have the level of discipline. Because two things is going to happen: either they didn't do the ladder correctly, as what I would have done, or they just weekend. They just, hey, it's too much money, I'm okay leaving the principal, blah blah blah. Which, by the way, I accounted for in my game theory, which is the reason why the first 15 years is really the game changer. Okay, rule number one: financial investors say all the time, people underestimate how long they're going to live. I'm 31 years old. Hex 19 was 81 years old, and he had 10 to 15 years stake. So we're all most likely in the balance of probability, with technology and everything like that.
That's why I also say, like, to everybody, it doesn't matter how old you are, you still should use the whole timeline. But if you're older, a lot of people want to take like most of their profit in 3 years, in 5 years, in 8 years. What I explain to them is like, you don't need to make an average staking ladder. What you can do, maybe if you're older, you decrease your principal, and maybe if you're younger, you can increase your principal.
No, absolutely. And this is what it comes down to levels. And I'm glad I get to explain that here, because I explained it before, but I'm also break it down. So it kind of suits for everybody. Okay. And again, we're talking about T-shares here, because ultimately, if you're in Hex, you're going to win. Don't worry about it. Now, we're talking about optimization. So what is level one? Level one is, again, let's say you have 100% of your stack. You take 30%, and then you stake that for 15 years, the maximum amount. That is the dream account by definition. Again, important things: you're getting daily payout for 15 years. You're getting the penalties for 15 years. And especially now, it's critical. You're getting the copy on the Pulse chain. Very, very, very important. Because like Hex Lion perfectly said, your first stake is your most important stake. The share rate will never be cheaper than it is the first time you see it, because chances are the next day is going to be more expensive. This is why.
At this point, I have a question from Marcel. He is asking, why is it beneficial to do a 15-year stake compared to a 10-year stake?
Fantastic. And we're going to get to that, because this is the essence of T-share preservation, because of share rate increase. So, but what that does with that level one, which actually is the most defensive thing you can do while maximizing your building wealth opportunity, because level one is how I solve the excuses for everybody, whether you're very young or if you're very old and you need the money like literally in the next year or two. Because what that's going to allow you to do is get the same amount of T-share roughly than somebody that staked a year or less than a year, but you still have 70% of your liquid back. That's the strategy here, because the 30% with the 3x bonus is acting as if you stake 90%, and let's say the other person was doing the same thing. Now you get the same amount of T-shares, but you still have more liquid, and the liquid is only here for emergency. That's what I call level one. You're building wealth, and then the rest is liquid, because I cannot sit here and guess when you're going to have an emergency, but I can show you how you can get the same amount of T-share than somebody that staked 90% of the stack, but you did that with only 30% of the stack. Make sense? Or if you get a little bit more aggressive, like he said, 35%, that will cover you. 35% times 3x, it will cover the 100% that what you would have been. Now, what is level 2? Level 2 is that you did a little bit of soul searching. You sat down with yourself. Your discipline just increased. You know who you are. You know if you retire or soon to be retired. You got your, what I call freestyle. You start to dive into the 70%. And you already have peace of mind because the 30%, which ideally, dream account, separate wallet, stake your app if you could, put it away, stake it, take it off the computer. Hide that key, never to be seen 15 years from now. Just use the view only aspect of the app. You look at it, you feel good. But you should not be interacting with that key whatsoever, period, full stop, end of story. It's not to be seen because it's not useful until 15 years from now. This is something you can give to your kids, or whatever, because it started with that nest egg that can give you generational wealth for your family. It's not about you. It's about the people after you. And if you're fairly young, chances are you're going to be able to tap into that money 15 years from now. So level 2 is we start to dive into the 70%. You can have your 10-year stake, 5-year stake, birthday stake, or what I call rotational stake, 30 days, whatever it may be, and you just live off of that. That's fine. You can do the freestyle. Now you move to level 3. You get a little bit more aggressive like me. What is level 3 is that now, instead of doing just 30% stake for 15 years and more, you're starting to go into the 50 to 60% mark. You're getting a little bit more aggressive. You want to move up to the ranking. You know what I mean? Maybe you are a proud crab and you're inspired to be a squid. Or if you're a squid, you want to be a dolphin. And you know that with the capital that you have and your average stake length is maybe 3 years or 5 years, if you were to bump it up to 8 or 10 years, you get more T-share. You start to accelerate your wealth building because you realize the price went up so much and you have all what I call this dormant capital. The reason why I only wanted to have 1% of my stuff liquid, and actually it's even less than that, is because I truly believe in HEX. I truly believe in the mission. So to me, 1% after 100x move is another 100%. So I'm only leaving 1% because I know the price is going to go up and that 1% is going to be another 100%. So again, I'm playing chess, not checkers. I begin with the end in mind because I know that what I'm seeing is going to be more valuable after the next 100x move. So now I'm moving into that level 3 where every time the price goes higher, I'm starting to just stake more. So I have my funds. I have my fund for emergency. But as the price go higher and higher, I'm locking more capital to build more wealth as the price goes higher because I only need what I need for emergencies and having fun because I'm also working and I love what I do. But I'm avoiding, like the plague, I'm avoiding dormant capital. And then you get to like level 4, which is insane. This is where I am on. And again, disclaimer, don't do this at home. If you're not in the same level of discipline than me, then just don't do it. Because I'm playing the long-term good. I'm like, the wealth that I'm trying to build here, it's like we're going to be buying islands and stuff like that. And I'm willing to delay gratification for 15 years. Most people cannot do that. You have to be very clear with yourself. This is something I want to do. Nobody pressure me to do it. I want to do it.
I want to be broke such
exactly.
a long time.
So the way level 4 worked, funny enough, it's just like level 1, but it's math. So I did 30%, 15 years, right? That means there's 70% left. And then let's say the price double. 70% becomes 140%, right? Because the price double. You follow me?
Yeah.
Then I take 30% of that and I stake for 15 years. So what I'm doing is I'm creating an automatic 15-year ladder, maximizing the system, but I'm only staking every time the price double. So I am covering myself for emergency if something happens, and I'm creating a forced discipline by saying I'm only going to do it when the price double. If the price doesn't double, we'll just do rotational stake until the price double, and then I remove HEX out of circulation, staking 15 years.
Yeah, but what do you do if after the doubling we get a 70% down move? Because then you have
exactly,
like
but
this 20%
that means
where you are like lower
perfect.
than before.
That means previously to that, the double didn't happen because I was just doing rotational stake. So I'll give you an example, right?
Of course, previous to that, the doubling that happened. Let's make a quick example.
Yeah.
Let's say the price went from 25 cents to 50 cents.
Yes.
And then at 50 cents, you make the 5555. And then the price is at 19 cents to
Yes,
few months
but
later.
remember what I said. I'm only taking 30% of the new total. So I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say 70. So
of course.
so it
Let's say
covers that.
you had like 100,000 hex, then you take like 30,000 hex and put it for 5, right?
Yes. So let's do like that. Let's talk percentages to make it simple, not just in hex term.
Okay.
You had 100%. You stake 30%.
Yeah.
15 years. There's
Yeah.
70% left.
Yes.
Okay. Now the price doubled.
Yeah.
You still have that 70,000 hex, but the price doubled.
Yeah.
So now just in percentages, 70% just become 140. In dollar term, when the price double. That's why I said don't calculate in hex term, calculate in percentage. Like, let's say I have something worth money that was worth 100 grand.
Yeah.
Forget the hex, 100 grand.
Yeah.
I stake $30,000, whatever it is in hex term.
Yeah.
$70,000 left.
Yeah.
70,000 go to 140.
Yeah.
Right? I take 30% of 140, not 30% of, you
okay,
understand?
So,
So it's 30% of the new balance after the price has doubled. So I am covered. So 70 became 140. I remove 30%. I'm left with 110.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you understand?
Okay,
Then it doubles again. It goes to 220.
Yeah. Okay, but then you just need to write down like your average entry price, because if that was like 10 cents, then you do that at 20 cents.
Well, yeah, because the stake helps you with that, because you have a date, you have
yeah.
everything. It's very easy. It's on the blockchain.
But you still need to know, like
when
your
you stake,
average entry price.
Exactly. The goal is you creating a maximization ladder while covering yourself from the downside. Because again, people underestimate how fast share rate is going to accelerate. People can say, oh, I can do a 3-year, 5-year stake or just gap every 5 years. But that 5-year share acceleration, you can be left behind. You could have been a dolphin and then you're no longer relevant. It's better to max out ahead if you know, if like me, again, strong belief. That's what I said. Don't try this at home if you don't have the belief. If you have my strong belief that hex is going to be worth, like Abik said, by next year, $7 plus. And then in the future, 10, 15 years from now, I personally believe hex going to be 3 to 4 digits 15 years from now. So I'm doing my napkin math backwards based on the 15-year price, because that's when I'm starting to end state, because I'm delaying gratification for 15 years. And in an ideal scenario, which has happened, I have 15-year staking ladder with stakes every 6 months, because fortunately the price on average has trended in a way that every 6 months I'm getting my doubling. And we have been more than lucky, because it's been doing 47 days, sometimes, or 60 days. So my worst case scenario was, hey, if you remember the first dream account, every 6 months I had the stake, but then now I start implementing the doubling. And I've never entered a scenario where the doubling didn't happen within a 6 months timeline. So what I'm doing in conclusion is, by the time I hit 15 years, every 6 months or less, I'm getting a 15-year value T-share expiring. So I am maximizing the system beyond belief. Which is the reason why Dream account was started with $30 daily payout. Now it's doing.
But honestly, I'm still glad that I don't have such a high average staking length, that I made like the decision to use the whole timeline possible. Because now it gives me the flexibility that I don't need to work what I did do. And of course, it's a different. It
depends on what mode that you're on.
So you get motivated by your job. It inspires you. I didn't. I just worked in night shifts, and it fucked up my sleeping schedule.
Let's talk about that for a few minutes, because this is very good. Just to put the preface, right? I'm very fortunate that at a very, very young age, that's why I don't do jobs, right? Yes, I work for company, but commission is where it's at, because I do personal development. I work harder on myself, so I get paid more than the average person, because I put in the work. I hate salary, because if I work hard and anybody else will get paid the same, I don't like that.
I know.
I've been making 6 figures since I was for the past. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've been lucky to find Ikigai, right? Something that I like to do, something that the world needs, something that pays me and that gives me purpose. So now I got to a point where I bought my dream car. I live in a nice place, all that kind of stuff. So everything else is just free alpha and bonus from there. And I'm getting paid for the work that I do. Even that sticker app, I get paid for that too. So I'm at the point where my enemy is dormant capital. And I want to create forced discipline. I like to party. People know that. But I want to create discipline, because I also know the horror story. People that make a lot of money, athlete, this, that, flossing like it's crazy, not understanding that money also can be gone, because you underestimate what inflation we're going to be dealing with 5, 10, 20 years from now, especially
if you're like an athlete, you can only be like at the highest level for a certain amount of time.
Exactly. And what's still undervalued here is I'm forcing myself to create discipline. So by the time I am flexing. I'm flexing based on the money that I allow myself as a disciplined individual. So in other words, if the price is 10x or 100x, don't start to flex as if the price did 1000x. You create the ladder to force the discipline that if we get lucky enough and the price get there faster, I can flex with a good conscience that I'm not messing on my ladder, because I didn't expect us to be here this fast, but we got here and that's cool. Instead of I blow the money, I create the flex, and then the price goes on much higher, and then I'm upset at myself because I recognize how much I had and I mess it up. So this is another thing that I like, and I think what I connect a lot with the German is the discipline. I'm a very, very disciplined individual. That's what I say. It's not for everybody. It depends on what mode that you're on, and also I'm at a different stage where I'm fairly young. I'm only 31, and most of the thing that I wanted to do to flex to prove that I'm worth a damn because I work hard, whatever, most of it I have done. Now it's just traveling, helping people, give back. Again, that's what we do. Our stream, all this other stuff that we do for free, where we don't ask for no money, because Hex allows us to do all the other cool stuff. And we're building wealth. So even in our own selfish way, we're also getting rewarded for that. Let's not get it twisted. We're getting paid. This is why we get the insane daily payout, because we're delaying gratification, because we are protecting the price, but also because we believe in the long-term mission. Yeah. Like Wells were talking about earlier today, when you understand what the earning per share ratio is, the EPS, that you're basically saying for every 17 cents that you're willing to invest, the system is paying you $1. That's a big deal. That's a fucking big deal.
So we have 15 minutes left here in the stream, and we still need to talk about the technical analysis about the Hex price, right? But before we do that, I'm still gonna show you a couple of Twitter post that here is from the highest of stakes. They have one ticket to give away, and Patrick, yes, you were right. It is the Gathering 732. Why is it called like that, by the way?
Because it's the 32nd day of Hex. Yes. So it's day 732 in the Hex universe at the 2nd of December.
And quick math: 365 times 2. How much is that?
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, two years of Hex birthday. They have a free ticket for you guys if you want to have that.
We had a 366 year. The 20.
And then also, before we go to the technical analysis of the Hex Lion, we have here Richard's tweet. How many minutes has Bitcoin spent over my 65K top call that dipped 55% from that day on? So it was, I guess, not too long. Richard Hart did it again. He did an amazing forecast.
Richard
became true. So now, Patrick, let's look at your technical analysis. Do you have the screen share ready?
Yes, I have it ready, and just 1 second before that, you see that right now, you see the gas tracker on EtherScan. So if somebody out there wants to end stakes, start stakes, take advantage of that, because we are under 80 GWI. Maybe you can also manipulate the transaction. If it's a start stake, an end stake to 70 GWI, it might only take an hour, or you just go with the average right now with the 80. And you see it here also, the Uniswap swaps are still nearly $64 too much, but kind of more affordable than in the past. And now let's talk about
the reason why it's so important. A little fundamental analysis people don't know is because Thanksgiving is a very, very special holiday in the United States. It's one of the biggest because they take it very, very seriously. People don't work, and sometimes they take the whole weekend, so they don't work until Monday. Even the traders slow down and spend time with family. So take advantage of this opportunity, because next week you could easily go back to the 200 grades. So take advantage of that, because American traders or whatever institutions are not open right now. So take advantage. Even the stock market closed early at 1 p.m.
Yeah, and then you brought up the tweet of Richard, and then let's have a look. Here I marked the 65K line, what Richard tweeted about, right here. So he saw it here that Bitcoin reached the top, was exactly right on the day, and we got a 55% down move after that, and then Bitcoin reached new all-time highs. But if you zoom in here, you could have 2, 3, 4, 5 and 5.5 days where you could got out over 65Ks, and now Bitcoin is dumping again. You see it here on the right side as well. We have a beautiful red day here in crypto. And now let's have a look on our Hex price. let's move out a little bit. So here on the logarithmic scale, here this green line, it's starting at the big beta dip. We have one point here, 1 point here, and now it pointed as well 2 days before. And you know this zone already. I put it in this zone at like somewhere here at 33 cents, and so far it holds. So you had like 60 hours in total of getting a better price as in this zone, and I really think that this could be a turning point for
I'm
Hex.
even more confident in that. This is literally, I believe, once again, this is the bottom. And I dropped an Easter egg yesterday. If you don't mind going to my Twitter real quick, there's a thing. It's literally planning a fractal of what the DXY chart is doing. It's literally mind-blowing. It literally follows the same. And the reason why it's important is because I've said it many times, what Hex is set to replace is the biggest market in the world, which is the dollar index, because it's performing the similar function. For those who are not familiar too much with traditional investing and what's going on is they play the stocks game, and then when they think bad things going to happen, they escape back to bond and they go back to the dollar, so to speak. So the same thing in the crypto space, people go do the degen stuff, and then when they realize, oh my God, Bitcoin's getting spanked, now the fixed product, the thing that pays you the yield, the guarantee, and with the best in business, they go back to that. And literally, we're literally following that fractal. It's almost scary, and then you're going to be able to show the tweet, and it shows to people that also that's how you get to see what markets are doing. Because now you hear the news about Delta variant, this, that, whatever. 2 weeks ago, DXY started to pump. This is how you know that big money knows something that you don't know. But the way you're able to front run and play chess with them is like, wait a minute, why is the dollar pumping? If the dollar is pumping DXY, that means they're taking risk off. That means they're not in the market. That means they know something that you don't know. And this is the biggest market in the world. People say, oh, Karim, it's only a few percentage, 90, 90. You don't understand. It's trillions of dollars. To move this much, you need trillions of dollars. This is not your shit coins that you put $10,000 and then you can pump the price like 50%. No,
there is huge liquidity.
Exactly, the dollar index. And mind you, at the same time, sadly, other currencies around the world are crashing. Turkish lira, stuff like that, Lebanon. So if you watch World War News, because everything is connected, and we're coming to that climax because that's really where we get to shine. And historically, I know you say it's technical, W patterns are very bullish, because the bottom did hold. So
and it was also like where did the price came back? And
that's exactly, where God will also get
exactly here to the price rise of the sacrifice phase where the God whale pumped the last time. So here was
breakout, came back, retest the previous high, ready to go. And again, that's where God also got
retest, and now it's ready to go. So maybe a little bit to the right, and then
just to have some fun, right, with the pattern. Literally, can you go to your Twitter, please?
But I don't have to. So David would need to bring your tweet on.
Yeah,
because
please. It's literally the picture, and then I put it together. You get to see next side to side, and this is cool because it's like, hey, look at the fractal, look at this, and tell me what you think. And this is what we like to do, right? What we say, right? It's never financial advice, but it's mathematical advice. We just show you, look at the pattern, look at what's going on, and if you understand the macro, which is what is Hex here to do. What problem does it solve? What kind of product is it? You know what I mean?
And then also like also a reason why we are thinking we reached the bottom here. This was one guy who was one of the main dumpers as well. Can I no? But I already looked at it in the German live stream. So he got like 4.5 weeks ago about 38 million hex, and he dumped like in benches of 4 million, 4 million, and then 3 million, 3 million, 3 million, 3 million, and now he is nearly out of ammo. So he only has like 3.5 million hex left. Maybe one more dump from him, and then we are good to go.
And one more major thing too, worth mentioning, elephant in the room, which going back to OA, which is great. OA has done this many times where it's kind of like a little spoofing in a way where those who don't understand the function of what he has performed, you see a big stake, oh my God, it's going to dump. It doesn't happen. Stuff gets restaked, and then the price pump, and you get double left behind because share rate went up on you. You didn't buy, and the price went up. Because in the past, if you remember, many times in February, the first time, big stake, oh my God, the billion hex. What's going to happen?
But that was not 08, that was the God whale.
But he's doing similar mechanism that way. But one time it was the OA because as a protection, and you get to see. If you're not smart, that's how you get, again, double left behind because price goes up compared to what you could have been purchased at, and the share rate is going up as well. Because let's say smartly, he end stake first, share rate goes up, then he pushes the price up if he wants to. But the point of the matter is, when the market realizes, oh, wait a minute, it's not getting dumped. Next thing you know, that excuse of price gonna go down.
All the money who stood on the sideline because it thought like, let's wait for this dump to happen. Fuck, there is no dump. Let's move in.
Yep, and then it's slightly later because now you're gonna get a better rate. So that's why when you combine all those, and then correct me if I'm wrong, Abid, how many? There's one that's ending today, and then how many of them back-to-back OA stakes? It's like there's 6 of them, 7.
In total, it's 8 stakes
from today all the way to December 2nd, right?
Yes, exactly.
And again, look at the beautiful coincidence, right? W pattern. Bitcoin. Go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything. I just said it were like 5 or 6 stakes. But go ahead, Karim.
Yeah, I was just saying, again, in the balance of probability, so many good things happening all at once, right? Bitcoin's getting spanked. DXY is going through the roof like crazy, which I want you to show the tweet, which is literally what we're doing.
Are you opening up this tweet? Because I only see my screen share, and before you don't move my screen share, I cannot click.
Please, yeah.
Do you want to have this tweet from Karim?
Yeah, if you just go to Twitter and you just type my name, it's the third from the latest.
It is on the screen right now. The people can already see what you posted.
Okay. Oh, we could.
Colorful chart.
You need to tell me because I.
Oh yeah, because you couldn't see.
Yeah, because if I move back to this screen, then the screen gets.
Can you click on the image to make it look bigger? Because please.
So on the left we see the hex price chart, and on the right it's the DYX, right?
Yeah, the DXY, which is the dollar index. And literally, look at this, almost like just from the pattern stand of view. And again, understanding what hex does as a function in the market is the same thing that the DXY is doing on the traditional market. When everything goes crazy, whatever, and you're looking for that fixed guarantee, fixed product, again, finished product that hex has, that kind of tells you where we're heading, what's going on. So that's a little Easter egg. And then you combine, again, OA stakes, highly probability of the share rate increasing, plus all the way to December 2nd, no crazy opium, but we can just say there's going to be some good news, potential announcement of big players that's in the system. The thing about the Poloniex, even though we don't really care about exchange, but it does matter in terms of new users that we didn't reach yet, learning about Hex, be able to buy Hex and be able to accumulate. So I think when you combine all those things, and the little teaser that Binance is doing or whatever might be, who knows on December 2nd, some type of announcement, big player that nobody knew about. So you got that nice confluence and the Hex birthday, which we're excited. It's a great time to buy on the birthday. Why not? I'm definitely going to be buying on the birthday.
Okay, so Karim, you're expecting a December pump.
I'm expecting this fractal to play out.
All right.
Definitely. And Abid, please go back to the chart of Hex last year. What happened in December? Again, big payday, the shenanigans. We did a little W, and then we went for a run all the way to the end of the year. Look at what happened.
Patrick will look at the chart right now and find this, what you were just mentioning. But I also want to show you guys this. So this is why I am mega bullish on Hex, because look at this stream. It's really, really professional. It is from the Stake app, guys. You see the Karim, the Dream. You see Fireban, Steph, Gerardo, and Huldog. Those are the most influential players in Hex, and they are explaining you everything. So it is a stake every Sunday. You have the Staker show, right?
Yes,
so Karim, maybe you can summarize that stream really, really quick. What happened there?
Perfect. So first thing first, so we want to do this as a weekly show every Sunday, short, sweet, beautiful, 1 hour tops. That's what we decided to do. So, people are busy, and it's going to be around 1 p.m. Eastern time. So depending on where you live, you can find a nice sweet spot. And we have a little bit of everything, right? TA, macro, but more importantly to me, that's dear to my heart, is that we get to represent what's going on in the background. The little product development. And Fireburn, I've said it many times, this dude is a genius. And for people to be able to see some of what's going on in his head, what he has done for us, what he's continued to do for us, and also quick little update about what's going on in the background with, Pulse Chain and stuff like that. I think it's going to be great. And for people to be able to ask questions, technical questions that even I cannot answer. So you can hear directly from the horse's mouth. So you combine all of that. Plus, we also release a great promotions, which I think is another bullish catalyst, because again, the token economics, locking out more Hex, giving back to the community, because that money goes into people that most likely going to be buying and staking Hex, building wealth. And I made a promise. I want to deliver on that promise when I said to the, the turtles, the squids, and the crabs, I'm going to help you build wealth. You still need to do the work of staking, but I'm going to help you build that wealth. And that's also where we get to announce our weekly winners. We have 10 winners every single week. And if everything goes well, this thing is never going away. It's going to be every week until forever.
So what do you need to do in order to be a winner?
Yeah.
What do I need to do in order to be a winner?
Perfect. So the thing is very simple, is that obviously you have to have a Staker Smart wallet. And essentially is you're doing a Quattro Cinco stake. The minimum to enter is $100. So it's very inclusive for a lot of people to come in. It's not just big wallet. And what's very powerful is that the real value of Hex is longer pays better, right? You have some people that maybe have a lot more money than you, but they may not be willing to stake for 15 years. So you with your $100, you have a chance to compete. As a matter of fact, the 10th winner literally was just about a few $100, less than $1,000, and he still made it to the cut. So this is why it's really, really cool. And then every week from Saturday to Saturday, end of day, Hex Day, it's the weekly timeline. And we literally look at all the Quattro Cinco stakes, and then we sort them out from, bigger to smaller. And then those are the winner. Very simple. And then if two people stake the same amount of Hex during that time frame, whoever did it first is going to be the one that's going to win. To incentivize or like, don't procrastinate, because again, share rate's not waiting for you. And what's amazing, just go ahead.
Karim, I opened up help at help.staker.app, and here now you see on the screen the prizes: $2,000 for the first prize, $1,500 for the second prize, and so on. So this is amazing what the Staker App guys are doing. I cannot wait to see the next stream on Sunday.
Perfect. And what's amazing about that, everybody can go again, is literally help.staker.app. And then once you get in, we have so many articles, a lot of them that I've written also about how to sign in, how to, refer somebody, how to fund the account, all the general question you want to onboard somebody, you can send them there too. And on the marketing campaigns, that's when you get to see the two promotion. We enhance the referral program to pay up to 50%. So again, we give back to the community. But this obviously Operation Quattro Cinco is literally the thing that's the most popular. And again, going back to the token economics, we're helping people build wealth, and we're also locking Hex out of circulation. Think about it. It's almost, when you add all the fees and everything, it's almost $10,000 worth of value of real money potentially entering the system and locking funds for 15 years. It's a mechanism. And that's just what we're paying, not counting the participation, helping people out see the light. And just like back in the day when I did the hoodie promotion, people compete for, $80, $100 hoodie, but then they ended up creating a ladder that made them $30,000, $50,000 after staking $500. That's the insanity. That's the beauty about what we're doing. We're sponsoring the right behavior. We're helping people build wealth. And it's also really good because the system is very good. It's beautifully designed and it helps everybody else. So gladly to have come up with this. And again, probably more stuff to come. I don't want to say much, but there's other promotion we're working on. But just this one alone, participate, go read the rules. But again, 10 winners every week. We wanted 10 because we want to spread the number of winners every single week. So if you feel like, I didn't win this week, you get to play next week. Or if you're like, Karim, I only get paid every 2 weeks. Well, guess what? There's no fear mongering. You can participate the following week. You always have an opportunity to potentially win.
And Karim, that's amazing what you do there for the Staker App guys. The marketing campaign is long due. I wish I had that like 1 year ago. So, but thank you for doing that now for the Hex community. So everybody should at least do a $100 Hex stake for 15 years to participate from that, and then do it for the next years, right? It's not gonna end really soon. So everybody has a chance
every week. Until further notice, and it's gonna be every. Think about it this way: it's like in the best case scenario, if you put $100, you stake for 15 years, 5, and you're the only one, you literally win, and you literally 20x your money literally in a week, because $100 you get paid $2,000, so that's a 20x, and now you have $100 paying you for the next 15 years. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It's really cool, and you always have an opportunity to participate. That's why again we wanted to have the 10 winners. So. And even you right now have it. Hey, if you put it on the Staker App, listen, we don't gatekeep nobody. OGs or not. You want to play, you go play. Everybody can do it, but we're not going to play as the,
we are playing on the Staker App.
But everybody else, we
I'm
Of course,
staking on the
because
Staker Smart wallet as well.
we are only promoting things we are actively do on our own as well.
Perfect.
So I'm also, but only privately using the Staker app smart wallet, not
Thank you.
publicly. Because the thing is,
And you can give away the money too, the winnings that you get. Because literally, if I can share this anecdote, one of the winners, because some of them reached out to me, they were very grateful, whatever. They couldn't even believe it. You know what I mean? One guy win 500, 800, guy win 1,000. He couldn't believe it. He thought it was a scam.
The
No,
dollars, is it like
USDC.
in USDC?
USDC,
in
real money.
to
It's
the-
also for accounting purposes.
Yeah.
You know, I know some people want the hexing, but it's like, you know what, if you're gonna be happy when the price goes up, and then you're gonna be upset when the price goes down, right?
Yeah.
So we just want to give
That's
you,
fine,
so we
fine,
can
yeah.
say, hey, we paid you. It's accounting.
And then the
there.
user can choose if he
And
wants
it's
to
cool
swap
because
it for
let's
Hex,
say
you
there's
know?
a small dip and you got $1,000 and now you get to buy the dip. So, but it's mainly for accounting purposes. So we know it's there. It was sent to you, and it's amazing because I've had a guy, great story. I want to share it on Sunday. I'm gonna share it here too. He wins, happy to build his ladder, which he was already planning on doing because he was just doing it regardless of the promotion. Now he wins extra money, happened to onboard another friend. The guy didn't have a lot of money. Take the money, help him out, buy Hex, and then help his friend build wealth too and stake for 15
Nice,
years.
that's a cool
That's
story.
freaking
a
dope.
nice-
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Karim. Well, I have one question more for you, Karim, because our show is almost over. Nico
Sure, go ahead.
Berger is saying, Karim, my Staker app is still not working. Where could people go to help find help for the Staker app?
Perfect. I mean, the number one place is you got to send the email because I manage most of the tickets and the support. It's just easier to funnel everything because some people just easily want to DM and everything. And I'm very reachable. That's cool. But remember, I do hundreds of email per day. Like a lot of people email. So it's easy to send an email because we have a very cool app that we use called Intercom. It's very good. It funnels everything from everywhere. Even Twitter, it routes there. So we can address all the tickets all at once. But couple, housekeeping, which is very, very important. Again, you got to watch out for the gways. People don't understand. We're spending 90% of the cost. Sometimes there's no problem. We just have an issue turning you on because the gways are prohibitive. That doesn't mean we're not trying to do it. It's just because you unfortunately may have to wait. That's number one. Number two, once you do all the setups, make sure that the basic due diligence. Keep your key safe. Make sure you get your copy, all this other stuff, because some people don't understand that one smart wallet is connected to one email address. You cannot just mess up and then come back with the email address and then think you're going to get a new key. No, because that's how we avoid spam, duplicate, stuff like that, because the smart wallet costs a lot of money and it's not refundable because once we activate you, we're already spending the money. We're not getting a refund. Ethereum blockchain doesn't give us a refund. So just bear with us. I know that we have had some growing pains, but again, Pulse Chain is around the corner and we'll fix a lot of that. And we'll probably never want to have that issue again with support. So in conclusion, it's mainly for the 90% of the time, you're not being turned down simply because the fees are prohibitive. That's why we have to wait. We have an automatic relayer that wait for the grade to be low enough, and then it just triggers the activation because we already have the safe. We do something very smart. We buy a lot of it ahead of time. We just do the connection between the safe and the key.
The user. Yeah,
the user, exactly. So when you create your key pair, when you get your 24 words and whatever, and you create that ETH address, then we just tie that up directly to a safe. This is also why in the future with multi-sig, if you get compromised thanks to V2 or whatever, you're going to be able to change your ETH address, change the private key, and we'll just move the connectivity from the safe from that ETH address to the other one. Of course, there's going to be heavy verification because, we don't want scammer to be like, hey, I lost my key. Let me see. No. And then in the future, which is pretty cool, imagine where you can have potentially Staker app as the third or fifth potential verification, not the second. We don't want to do that because we're non-custodial. But let's say you have multi-sig, you have three other options. You got your hardware wallet, and then maybe you want to put us as your third multi-sig, right? So let's say you lose one, and then you have the other one, and to transact you need a minimum of two. Mm-hmm. Then you can contact Staker app, do all the verification. We know it's you. Then we'll help you, and then we'll kick back the one that's bad, and then you can just change that for something new. So again, really cool stuff. Fibon briefly touched about it, but that's V2. Again, software is hard. Pulse Chain comes first, but the smart wallet has so much power for the future.
And with the fork to the Pulse Chain, all the Staker app smart wallet users,
yes.
Do they need to do anything, or
nope.
will Staker app team?
It's gonna be so perfect. You're gonna get a new update, new UI. It's like toggling, better than even literally you're gonna be able to see it. Just switch. You're gonna be able to go automatically from one chain to the other chain just by toggling.
Yeah, you will have such a just a switch button in the app,
Yep.
bringing you from Pulse chain to Ethereum chain,
Exactly.
whatever you want.
Super easy, seamless. All your assets going to be just there waiting
Also,
for
like
you.
to use the bridge between those two chains.
Everything,
Also,
because remember, it's a UI and everything is done in the background. Remember,
Perfect.
during sacrifice phase, we just enable the thing, you refresh the app, all of a sudden, oh wow, I can sacrifice Pulse, right? And then you just went there and you just did it, and then we just calculate everything. Imagine something like that. Once it's enabled, boom, everything done in the background, ready to go.
All right. Anything else
this
on
is
your
a
side?
really long show already. I love it. I could listen to Karim for hours and hours and hours. I just posted the help@staker.app email address into the chat. And also, if you go to the Staker app and click on the side into the 3 lines, then you can also send a feedback, and it will reach right away the Staker
Another
guys.
thing
They
that
will
helps too,
help you.
Couple just house cleaning too, very important. Please try not to have a device that's more than 3 years old, because there's some, like, again, I handle most of the support. There's like unknown random bugs that old phone have, maybe just an old certificate. Try to get a device. Again, you're securing your wealth. That's not, because people still got their iPhone 7 or 6, you know what I mean? Like, try to use something that's more recent, because who knows what you have downloaded on this phone could be buggy, this and that. And a lot of the time when they have like random bugs is because they have an old device. So trying to get something that's newer, less than 3 years old, ideally, very, very important. And in the settings, if you don't mind enabling error report, that helps us to debug. If you really have a bug that's random, we're going to be able to see what's going on. So those two things, very important.
So thank you, Karim, for spending the time here with us, educating us on Hex. Is there anything else that, Patrick, you want to mention before I give the last words to Karim?
No, just want to mention that thanks for Karim for making the workshop with me together tomorrow. And now we will head over to our meetup here in Boston. Thanks for everybody out there watching us. Please leave a like if you like the stream today, and also the subscribe button and the bell. Helps the algorithm, helps to bump your bag as well. Yep. And we will stream the next English stream, I guess, in about 1.5 weeks, because now it will be the most busiest time on our 5555 tour, because in the next 10 days we are going from Boston to New York to Lancaster to Philadelphia and to Washington. So also already like 1/3 of the whole East Coast in the next 10 days. So might be a little bit for the next live stream. Just watch what the OA is doing in the next from tonight, a week from now, those stakes are ending, and we will be curious to find out what it did. And when we do our next live stream, we will of course update you. And now we are going to the meetup. Huh?
Exactly. Also, from my side, thank you everybody in the chat. Thanks everybody who was liking and subscribing. It really helps a lot. So one more time, please do that. It helps a lot. Now I want to give the word to Karim to give the last shout out. What do you want to say to the Hex community?
First and foremost, I want to again thank you, the viewers and everybody, for being here. Thank you, the Cryptos Pabu team. Again, amazing work. Continue to do it. You inspired me as well to continue to push hard, stay driven. Again, I'm joining the tour, so we're going to be pushing this mass adoption. Like, listen, we're going to be also, we take pride in being responsible to some degree into just, price appreciation, liberating the people, bringing financial freedom, right? Not just staying and waiting, but taking massive action in our own hands so we can feel proud of ourselves and what we're here to do. So for that, again, I want to thank you guys for being here. It's very important. Quick little shout out to the OA. I know the OA is going to do great. Remember, OA is the #1 supporter. Number 2 is Godwell. Number 3 is me, right? I mean, we're training. We're doing the right things. And stake, date, and chill. That's it. That's the conclusion.
And more hex is always better.
Yes.
So there's a big hex flexing going on Twitter and so on, right? So, Patrick, how many cars do you have? It's Staker app, it's pulsechain.com, it's hex.com, right? Like, who else does that? I think Cryptos Babuch is the biggest supporter of hex of all time. Bang. Not even the OA, not even the real
I love it.
Whatever does that kind of shit.
We bring mass adoption to Pulse Chain before it's even launched.
Exactly. So thanks everybody for watching us too. It was a lot of fun, and we see us shortly in the next couple of days. We do not know when. This is why you need to click the bell.
Exactly. Goodbye, everybody.